Has a wonderful craft, she glides fore and aft, and oh how the wild wind drove her. She lit up the glass, she had 27 points, and they called her the Irish Rover. Hello, Emmet Ryan here from Ball in Europe. And yes, that title does look clickbaity, but I stand over it. And you'll get into why as we go through this video. We are, of course, talking about Melia and Baxi Ferrol's extraordinary performance in the first leg of Eurocup Women on Thursday night against Asvel. Melia with 27 points, 4 boards, 3 assists in a 93-62 first leg win for Ferrol. We're going to discuss this Cinderella run of Ferrol. We're going to discuss Melia's performance, and we're going to discuss it in the context of history. So let's get to it. If you haven't already, please subscribe. It really, really does help. And now, first of all, it's Cinderella time. So those of you who are watching may not be familiar with Eurocup Women. So Baxi Ferrol, this is their very, very first season in the competition. And they did great, but they had to start at the very, very bottom. They had to go into the qualification round. They beat an Italian opponent in that phase. That got them into the regular season, the group phase. 48 teams across 12 groups. Now you may be going, hang on a second, that doesn't really compute. Don't worry, we're getting to that. A 5-1 record in their group, including a win over Galatasaray, former EuroLeague Women champions. And that was enough for a 17 seed in the round of 32. Now you may be going, hang on a second, that doesn't sound right to me. So top 2 in each group automatically through. That's 24 teams. The 4 best third place teams also automatically through. That's 28 teams. Doesn't get to 32. Now the 4 teams eliminated from EuroLeague Women go in, and that's where things start to get tough. So as a 17 seed out of 32, Baxi Ferrol got the 16 seed from Belgium in the round of 32. They win that, but then they get the number 1 overall seed, Hunthirm from Hungary. They'd come down from EuroLeague Women, and Ferrol won. They beat them. They took out the number 1 overall seed in the round of 16. That got them into the quarterfinals against Dinamo Sassari, where everything on paper said, this is where the dream ends, because Sassari, solid Italian side, great record, looked like the type of thing that's going to knock out Baxi Ferrol. And Ferrol just absolutely whooped them over 2 legs. Convincing wins both first in Sardinia and then back home in Spain. And suddenly Ferrol, who nobody had on the radar at all going into this season, are into a Eurocup Women semi-final. They are this close to immortality. They've already done far more than anyone expected. And like, this is a town, it's in the northwest of Spain, it's in Galicia. It's about 70,000 people, roughly, a little under that. The coach is from Ferrol. Like, it's a very community club. It's got great support. The Baxi Ferrol is the sports team in Ferrol, basically. It's what the town gets up for. And they had never even dreamed of success like this. For those unfamiliar with Eurocup Women, this is the equivalent of the Europa League. So it's a big, big deal. They are competing with some absolute titans, some superpowers in the sport. And of course, that led them to their semi-final matchup. 2 legs again. And the first leg was in Ferrol, an extraordinary, really lively crowd against Asvel, who previously won this competition, come in with 2 players with extraordinary talent, including Malonga. Well, lots of players with extraordinary talent, but 2 young players expected to be drafted into the WNBA this spring. And this is the point where we're kind of going, the dream's going to end, isn't it? And in the first couple of minutes, and I do mean literally the first couple of minutes, it followed the script. And then everything flipped. Ferrol just decided to be feral. They ripped them asunder. No respect for standing. No respect for history. No respect for what's supposed to happen in the narrative. Ferrol just kicked Asvel all over the court for 40 minutes. This was total domination. And Cinderella came into the semi-finals with a sledgehammer. So now we get to Melia's game. So Melia, this is her first season playing professionally outside Ireland. She did have a bit of time in the US college system, but not even a full season there. But her entire career, aside from this, has been in Ireland until she was eventually coaxed by Ferrol to come over. They tried to get her to come over a couple of years ago. She felt it wasn't the right time. And even then, like when they coaxed her this time, she was up for it, but there was a bit of work to convince the club that, yes, bringing in an Irish player is a good idea because we ain't exactly known for bringing out all that many talent internationally in basketball. It's just what goes to rep with our standing in the sport. And, well, that's paid off, hasn't it? 27 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists, like I was saying in that game, and dominated Malanga, quite simply. A phenomenal individual performance, crucial, obviously, to the victory. And just her efficiency, I think, was 28. I haven't got that to hand, but, like, yeah, we're talking an extraordinary individual performance. And this is the thing, this is not a one-woman team. Like, Ferrol is a team which can spread that ball around. Like Claire, even speaking to me earlier this week about all of this, was saying, like, it's great. I know that if I'm in the post, I'm passing out to shooters who are more than likely to make the shot. And like a spread of them. It's not like it's the one option. Like she knows whichever direction she goes, she's got a good shooter to work with, which, is phenomenal because Claire was used to not saying being the team for teams she played for before, but being like the primary scorer every night, like the primary board getter every night. Like she was the one expected to be the number one on the score sheet in all the major statistical categories every night when she was playing in Ireland. And that's understandable because Claire Melia is extraordinarily good. Like she's Ireland's best player, and has been a star for a women's team. Was a star at underage, obviously as well. Like I first started covering her back when she was on a silver medal U18 team that got promoted to Division A, and yeah, I've seen her play for like Portlaoise, for Glanmire, for Colester. Like she's been around. Like she's had a few clubs, and she's just done well wherever she's gone. I think I've left out a club there. I'm really sorry if I did. She's played around a few places and she did great and she was loving life in Ireland. But, 25, she's taken a chance. She's gone to Europe and what a first season it's been for her. Like, it's a perfect setup. It's a small town, big in the community. She's from Monasterevin, fairly small town that's big in community. Now, it's still a lot smaller than Ferrol, as her parents pointed out to her when they visited. It's got the right mentality and all that. And yeah, she's doing great there. Phenomenal first season as a full-time pro in Europe, because she was doing a job back in Ireland. And now she's having an extraordinary start to her major European career, like Eurocup semi-finalist and a star in that first leg, is a phenomenal maiden season in the competition. So now we got to talk about the context, the big statement I made at the very start. So that was a very, very big statement I've made at the start of this video. This is the greatest performance of all time. Working out that even in a historical context, it's an awful lot of work. The calculations alone would take so long.
Don't worry, I started a very long time ago.
Okay, maybe not number of items of the doctor's long work, but I did spend an awful lot of time this morning researching historical performance by Irish players, including, I went hard mode, I went anyone who was an Irish passport holder, which includes oodles of people who just happen to have Irish citizenship but never played in Ireland or for Ireland or had any links to Ireland. Like there was a Mike Hall outburst against Zalgiris in 2009, which, for Milano in EuroLeague, but that was in round of 16. And it was also, they lost, plus they didn't go through to the quarterfinal. So it's kind of doesn't really fit in there. Plus it was 5 years before Mike got his Irish passport. So you got Susan Moran's 38 game when she was in college. But again, that's, college play. It's not the level of Eurocup. You've got a couple of ones from Donny McGrath. You got Pat Burke. Although with Pat, it's kind of funny in that I'm torn. They aren't in Panathinaikos Green. There is a playoff game for Marusi where he went 15-13, which was really impressive to me against PAOK. And there was a game in his last season with Seco Procom where again he had an absolutely lit up game. But in both those cases, I just don't put them at the same level as this in terms of what the competition you're playing at. Like these are all still either domestic or in a much earlier round in Europe, which to me draws in the competitive level. Not to to diss any of these performances, but I've done an awful lot of work looking all of this up. I think I mentioned Donny there as well. So there have been a bunch of them which I've been looking up here. And Marty Conlon as well. I looked at some of his. I've sort of been kind of saying anything Super League. No offense to being in Ireland, but this automatically you'd need to hit a 100-point game in the Super League for this to be comparable, basically, in Ireland. And that 100-point game also be a triple-double, purely because of the level of the event here. Likewise, in national team colours, because I've excluded underage, because I think you have to go senior only, and even then if you're going underage, it's basically Claire versus a couple of Jordan Blount performances, and I'm sure JB would automatically say, that's better than anything I've ever done. Like, JB's a very honest dude. So that immediately knocks that out. Meta Burson, Jimmy Burson, he had a couple of whoppers. One in particular, a quarterfinal in the Basketball Champions League for Karsiaka back in 2022, I think that was, or 21, which definitely jumped out to me, but still, again, not putting it up there as well. So I have looked into these performances, and by the way, of those, most of the people I named there, or at least some of them, don't have either didn't claim their Irish citizenship until after the performance, or in the case of Jimmy, plays for Turkey. Like, good for him. He's a Turk who happens to have an Irish mammy. This place loves us some James Medican person, but Jimmy's immediately going to go, dude, don't put that in there. And it's like, I'm totally with you, man. So yeah, I have done a lot of research on this in the hours I've had this morning to put this together. And really, genuinely, when you put the level of competition, the level of performance, the overall efficiency, and the sheer importance of the game, all the statistical and the intangible factors together, this is it. This is the best ever performance by an Irish basketball player, male or female, adult level for sure. Again, you can argue maybe some underage ones, but even then, probably not. It's this. This is the performance. And I'm sure Claire is going to go, what? Seeing this, it's like, thanks for putting the pressure on me, Emmet. You've already done it, Claire. The pressure's off. Everything you do after this is gravy. I have... Now, Kieran Shannon, my boy, you're probably the best placed person outside of this to do some research on it, outside of me. So if you want to help out, feel free. Kieran's a great historian in Irish basketball, a phenomenal journalist, and he might be able to dig something out. But I did a lot of work since that game ended between last night and this morning. So I said this morning, it was actually started last night, researching historical performances by Irish players. And yeah, it's extraordinary. Remember, this is Claire Melia's. Not the Claire Melia's just, but it's the first Irish woman to play in a European semi-final. She was actually the first Irish woman to play beyond a round of 16, I think, or beyond a round of 32. Basically, Nave Muira in the 80s. I've forgotten if it was around a 32 or around a 16 they automatically went into. I'm pretty certain it was around a 32. So anything beyond a round of 32, she's the first Irish woman to do. Pat Burke is the only other Irish-born player to ever go this far in European competition. He's done it 3 times. I thought it was twice. I forgot one. So he won a EuroLeague in 2000. He reached a Super League final in 2001, and he reached the semi-finals of the Eurocup with Marusi in 2002. So you got to go back all the way back to 2002 for the last Irish-born player to do this. And more importantly, as Orla Keeling of the Sideline Live pointed out, this is the first player to come up through the Irish system to do this, because Pat grew up in the US. No player in the Irish system has done this at all. Male, female, at all. And Melia, about as born and bred Irish as it's going to get. Like, you're talking part of this season again, a few months playing outside of Ireland, the US collegiate level, that's it. She is an Irish club system player brought all the way through, makes that first season step up to Europe, and has done this. So yeah, obviously we're standing Uni Ferrol for as long as they can keep this Eurocup dream going. Like, they're obviously, still face a tough game in Lyon, because you might go, I don't know, 31 points, that's kind of easy. No, it's not. 2 legs in Europe can be absolutely stupid. 31 points is not an unassailable lead. I've seen too much of this. So yeah, this video has already gone way longer than I planned. So a couple of things before I wrap up. Firstly, we have a piece about Melia's performance in the context of historical Irish performances going up some point during the weekend on the website. If you're seeing this on Saturday or Sunday, there's a reasonable chance it's already up, but more likely if it's Saturday, not so much. And if it's if this is way in the future, it's definitely up there. So go looking on the website for Claire Melia. But on Monday, our biggest ever project to date will be up on this channel. It is a first ever proper documentary. I went to Athens. I did a lot of filming, I did a lot of interviews. I did an awful lot of post-production afterwards. It's about the Greek derby rivalry. It's going live on Monday. It is something I'm very, very proud of. And more importantly, hopeful that it'll like sort of help with the way we're doing all our storytelling. It's our first ever proper documentary. We have 2 more coming out later this year. They're both in production at the moment. But obviously, please check that out. If you haven't already, please subscribe. It really helps. And until next time, I will see you soon.